Welcome to the broadcast. My name is John Mayfield, the real estate tech guy for Global Real Estate School, and I'm so glad you could join me. Hopefully, we have a few folks out there live. If not, the sessions are always recorded, and you can watch these at any time that you would like. Well, my days have been kind of crazy, as I'm sure yours have been as well. We started out going back to the beginning of COVID-19. I started out doing live streaming. I was doing that most of Monday through Fridays at 4 o'clock and was doing a lot of webinars. Still very busy. I mean, it's still a crazy time. And actually, it's probably been more busy than back when this all started. And I thought I was busy back then. But haven't been able to do as much live streaming for Global Real Estate School as I would like to do. However, don't forget, on our YouTube channel, there's tons of videos. I say tons, that's probably slang that I should not use that, but there are a lot of videos on the YouTube channel, so be sure and subscribe. I'll come out here and do these. If we've got a few folks watching, that's great. If not, I'm doing these videos so that they will be on the website and be recorded. Now, two quick things I want to mention to you. Number one, be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you've not done so. I'd love for you to be a subscriber. And number two, if you're thinking about or if you're in the middle of getting your real estate license and you have to pass your real estate exam, regardless of what state you're in, you can go to myrealestateexamcoach.com and check out my latest, very cool, in fact, I've got a little graphic right here I'll put up, myrealestateexamcoach.com. Check it out. There are lots of short videos. It's kind of a coaching program where I coach you for the exam, how to pass the test. You can find out more again at myrealestateexamcoach.com, or you can go over to Global Real Estate School. But it's a national content, so it works in all 50 states, okay? So check it out. I think it's a cool program. Well, we are going to get started here and going to kind of show you, wanted to just do some math problems, some amortization problems today. If you're new to Global Real Estate School, or if you're new, getting ready for the exam, it's okay. We're going to go through. You'll need to know this for the test, so it'll be good for us to go through that. So I'm going to take off my camera. You probably thought I was going to say I was going to take off my shirt, and I'm not going to do that, okay? I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm using all kinds of weird slang terms today, but I'm going to turn my camera off, and we're going to go over to my iPad and take a look at some math problems. Okay, I was streaming earlier today, and for my Tech Guy, my Business Tech Guy YouTube channel, if you want to know more about technology and how to use technology as a real estate professional, you need to go check that out, but kind of hold off and watch that after you pass your real estate exam. I think it's better to do that anyway. But I was doing that earlier today, and I was broadcasting, and lo and behold, they couldn't hear me, and it's like, oh man. So I had this new mic, and I plugged it into my iPad, and it was not working, and that's why I was a minute or so late. So hopefully you can hear the sound okay. But we're going to go right in to just a couple of math problems. I thought it would be fun and interesting for us to do this. We won't spend a lot of time today, but would just like to go over a few of the questions that you possibly will see on the real estate examination. So I just encourage you to sit back, take some notes, and we will go through these together. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to just go through some basic amortization problems that you will need to know for the real estate exam. So they're going to give you a loan balance, okay? So let's just say that we have a loan balance of $100,000. I'm going to use just kind of some easy numbers here. And they may tell you that the interest rate's 7%. and they will probably tell you that it's a 30-year note. And they will also then tell you what the payment is, okay? So in this example, I could probably work this and get us a close ballpark figure. So let's just say, if you'll give me just a half a second. So we're going to say the payment's $449.07. Now again, the $100,000 will be the loan balance. So what you will see on your exam is you will see a scenario or a story about Tom and Mary own a home, they're selling, and they like to throw as much information into the problem as possible. And so a lot of that stuff's just there to try to mess with your mind, okay? But what you're really trying to pull out for these amortization problems is, what's the loan balance from their last payment? And they will give you that. And the other thing you want to know is, I just wrote under I'm going to take my picture off there so you can see that. So what's the loan balance as of the last payment? And really, this is the critical piece of information. And here's what you need to look for in the questions. You need to look for, there's key things you need to be aware of. And what we really are trying to find is, what is the principal and interest payment? Okay? Now, as you read these questions, I'm just going to come back out here for just a second. You might see a question like this. Bob and Sue Smith own a home. They're selling to Terry and Doug. The loan balance on May 1st is $100,000. The interest rate on Bob and Sue's home is 7%. They originally took out a 30-year note, and their payment with principal and interest is $449.07. Okay, giving you that. If closing takes place on June the 17th, what will the closing entry be on the settlement statement? Or how much money will Bob and Sue have to give to their lender on June the 7th? I mean, there's lots of ways they could ask that. So now, I know that we don't have the question in front of us. I'm just throwing this out. But there's a couple of things I kind of wanted you to pick up on. The loan balance was, as of May 1st, $100,000. And I gave you the principal and interest, but the closing's not taking place until June the 7th, okay? I could have said 17th earlier, but we're going with June 7th, okay? So, think about that. And let's go back out here and take a look at this. So, this loan balance was the last payment made, which was what? The May payment, May 1st. Closing is going to be on 6/7. Now remember, when you make when Bob and Sue, if I can remember the names right, when they made their payment of what? $449.07. This was actually covering for the month of April. See that? Because interest is always paid in arrears. Interest is always paid in arrears. Rent is always paid in advance. So when Bob and Sue made their May payment, or that was really paying for the month of April, but we now have a loan balance for May 1st. And we're closing on June 7th. Okay? So let's calculate this. So I'm going to go over here. We're going to have to make the June 1st payment. And how much was it? $449.07. So we're going to have to pay $449.07 on June 1. Now remember, the loan balance on May 1st is $100,000. Now I teach you to do these little T problems. A lot of people teach this method. It's nothing I developed, but the process is this. If you have the two bottom numbers, your math always tells you to multiply. If you have one of the top and one of the bottom, your math tells you to multiply. See that? I mean divide. So, and this always goes in first, and then hit your divide button, and then put your second number in. Now, remember, it could just be that we had the bottom over here. It doesn't matter. If you have one on the top and one on the bottom, your math tells you to divide. It's a little T problem. If we have one on the bottom, two on the bottom and none on the top, then our math tells us to multiply. See that? Okay, so let's just erase all of this. I'm going to make this a little bigger so we can get rid of that. Kind of like wiping down the old chalkboard without getting your fingers all chalky, or the dry eraser board without being choked on the smell of a dry eraser. Okay, so I'm going to go back to a black pen to help us out here. It's just easier, I think, sometimes to read. So the loan balance, now one more thing about the T problem before we go there. This represents part, this represents total, and this is percentage or rate. And remember, I said if you have one on the top and one on the bottom, then our math tells us to divide. If we have both the bottoms and no top, we multiply. Okay, everybody's with me there. All right. So now the big key thing is, where do these numbers go, John? So let's do this. I'm going to go back to over here to my change colors there. So I'm going to the loan balance on May the 1st was $100,000. Now remember, this is part, total, percentage. Do we know the interest rate on their loan? Yeah, it's 7% right there. See that? So I think we know where the 7% goes, don't we? Right there. It's just, do we do it as 7%, or is there something different we could do? I recommend you move your decimal over 2 places, which would make that 0.07. That's what I would recommend you do. So now we have this $100,000. Would it go on top or bottom? Well, the P stands for part, and the T stands for total. Part, when we look at this $100,000, it's the loan balance. and this is the interest rate. So if we put the 100,000 down here on the bottom, the total loan amount, our math tells us to do what? Multiply. So I'm going to take 100,000 times 0.07, and I get $7,000. 7,000 represents what? That is called annual interest. Okay, this is the loan balance, and this is the interest rate. So we were solving for the annual interest, and to do that, we just multiplied the loan balance times the interest rate. Now, this is in monthly form, right? So let's just divide the annual interest by 12. And what do we get? 583.33. I can see right now. Okay. This, though, I thought I had figured this out to be correct, and I see where I did something wrong here. Because this would be your monthly interest. Just going to try something again here. $449.07. 100,000 times 0.07 equals 7 divided by 12 equals 583.33. There's something I did wrong here. And I'm having to figure that out because this isn't going to work real well for us. And let me see. Let me see what is going on here. I'm going to check something out very quickly here. Because maybe my calculator did something wrong. I'm going to go to bankrate.com and I'm going to check a mortgage loan, and we're going to just do a purchase, a 30-year fixed. And they had a calculator here. Here we go. So let me just put mortgage calculator. There we go. Okay, so let's put in 100. I put 110,000, and I'm going to put a 0 down payment. And so let's see, 30 years. We're going to just leave our taxes off. And I'm going to leave the insurance off and calculate. They're showing the payment at $558. That's with PMI. Oh golly, let's see. I think my financial calculator is on my. Here we go. Let's try this. So 110, 1, 2, 3. It's been one of those days for me. 7 and 30. Yeah, there we go. I wondered why that was coming up earlier. So the payment should be $731.83. You know why I think I know what I did wrong now earlier, but 731. I'm going to clear that. 110,000 principal value, 7% interest. We have to hit the blue, and then 30-year loan. 731.83. Okay, now this should work fine for us here. So the payment should be, and they will give you that prob 731.83. Okay, time to come out and visit for a minute. They will always give you that. You don't have to calculate a mortgage payment, okay? So it's not that bad. I use a financial calculator. Mine's on my phone, and that's why I was trying to do it with this thing, but I think there's something wrong with this battery. I don't know why, but that should have given me a different number, and it's coming up with some other number here, so I don't know what's going on. I'll have to look at that. But the reason that has to be a little bit higher is because, 100,000 times 7%, the interest, as you can see here, is $583. So this number, again, they will always give that to you in the problem. Don't panic. You do not have to calculate that. So this is what I was trying to just figure for us. You will have to do this procedure right here. Take the loan amount times the interest rate to get the annual interest, divide by 12, and you will get monthly interest. And so all we do is take the 731.83 and we subtract the monthly interest, 583.33. Now, why are we subtracting the monthly interest? Because this is principal and interest. So if we take 731.83 and we subtract 583.33, we get $148.50. And this is your monthly principal. Remember, this 731.83 is principal and interest. So if we take the loan amount times the interest rate, we get annual interest. We divide by 12 and we get monthly interest. Now we can subtract the monthly interest from the principal and interest payment and find out how much went to principal. So $148.50. So on June the 1st, they make their payment, and the bank is going to apply $148.50, the principal part, to the loan. And so now the loan balance on June the 1st will be $99,851.50. Okay? So on the day of closing, the seller's going to have to pay off that amount. Plus, they will have accrued interest. So how much is that? Well, we just repeat the T problem. $99,000 $851.50 times 0.07. Remember, interest rate is the same, which is $6,989.61, and when we divide it by 12, gives us $582.47, and we divide it by 30, and we get $19.42 per diem, or per day. Now we're closing on June the 7th, and it will tell you the seller, let's say, is responsible for the day of closing. So we have $135.91, which is accrued interest, and we have a loan payoff of $98,851.50. So they will have this, the loan balance, on the closing statement, and the accrued interest will be $135.91. And those will both be debits. So that's how you amortize a loan. Now, let's go over this so you can see, and I apologize about that being messed up. So as you can see here, on May 1st, the loan balance was $100,000. Remember, I said May first payment really paid for April. So 100,000 times 0.07 gives us $7,000 divided by 12, right? I'm right up here. Hopefully you can see that. Equals $583.33 monthly. We got the right house payment, which is going to be given to you in the problem. We subtract that $583.33 from the mortgage principal and interest payment, and we discover that this $583.33 went to interest, and $148.50 went to principal. Now, June 1st rolls around. You don't want to pay interest on $100,000 again, because you paid a whopping $148.50 down on your mortgage loan. So you should only have to pay interest on the unpaid balance, which would be $99,851.50. Remember, we are amortizing a loan. So all we did there was took that new loan balance times the interest rate, get the annual interest, divide by 12 monthly interest, and we divided by 30 because I needed to know how much is the daily interest, and then multiply that times 7. We get our accrued interest, and we already knew what our loan balance was. So those two items would be needed to be on the closing statement. You will see a question like something similar to that on the exam. It's all add, subtract, multiply, divide. Nothing challenging, very easy to do. You just got to go through the steps. Now, again, they will give you the principal and interest payment in the problem. You don't have to figure that. Well, I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. It will be in our webinar playlist, and I'll tag it as math and some other items that will help. So thank you so much. Have a great day and a good evening. It's late in the afternoon now. I look like I'm getting tired, and I probably am. So have a wonderful evening. Don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and go over to Global Real Estate School and check out my real